What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Some Japanese cards have been revealed and translated for their new set, Lost Abyss, which will make up a lot of the cards that are going to be in the North American September set, Lost Origin. And all of these cards have to do with the Lost Zone coming back. The Lost Zone is a mechanic that was introduced in the Diamond and Pearl era in 2009, and then again in Lost Thunder in 2008. The Lost Zone is uh, essentially a removed from the game zone that's more removed than the discard pile. And these cards only interact with cards that specifically say the Lost Zone. So these cards are removed from the game. It's a very cool mechanic, and they're really steering into this mechanic with these new cards. So I'm excited to look at all these new cards that are all involved with the Lost Zone today here on Poke Beach. But before we do that, shout out to my sponsors, PotownStore.com and CardTrooperGames.com. You can use code Celio for 5% off at both of those websites. Also check out PokemonCard.io for sharing and viewing deck lists. Beast Coast Pokemon for an amazing collaborative Pokemon content channel. And Dragon Shield Sleeves, my favorite sleeves, and I'm proud to be sponsored by them. Let's start taking a look at this. Of course, Giratina VSTAR is going to be the poster Pokemon of the set, and these will be combined with the Dark Phantasma set to create Lost Origin. Starting out with Delphox V. Now you'll see these purple and blue and pink kind of aura around this Pokemon, and it'll be on all of the cards that have the Lost Zone involved, which is really cool artistic-wise. Delphox has the Spooky Torch. Your opponent's active is Burn and Confuse. And then Magical Fire, 120 damage for Fire colorless. And it does, and then it says put 2 energy cards attached to this Pokemon in the Lost Zone. And you also do 120 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So I think this card would have been really good if we still had Welder around, but we have other ways of accelerating energy like Magma Basin for fire Pokemon. So 120, 120, and then essentially discard 2 energies, but they go into the Lost Zone instead, is pretty good. I'm not sure if it's good enough by the current standard format's power level standards, but an interesting card at the very least. It's not complete bulk, and we always love to see that. Next is Cremerant, a basic water Pokemon, non-rule box, just a little Crammer out here doing his thing. Lost Supply is the ability. If you have 4 cards or more in your Lost Zone, ignore all energy in this Pokemon's attacks costs. And then it does 110, isn't affected by weakness. Not a great card, but it could be a single price attacker in any deck that wants to put energy into the Lost Zone. Not being affected by weakness is a little bit sad, but you'll start to see how these Lost Zone mechanics are going to work with the 4 cards or more in the Lost Zone. It gets a special effect. We have Shuppet here. No Lost Zone artistic design here, but here we go with the Bayonet that evolves from the Shuppet, and you'll see that Lost Zone aura is right back at it again. Bayonet has the Puppet Memorial ability. Once a turn, you can choose a supporter card from your discard and put it into your hand. And if you do, you put this Pokemon into the Lost Zone. Very cool, in my opinion. It's, you wouldn't play this, I don't think, in a deck just for the one-time supporter card return, unless you also want to put cards into your Lost Zone. Then this is just like a double positive effect. Comfy is really good, in my opinion. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active, you can look at the top 2 cards. One goes to your hand, the other into the Lost Zone. So just probably going to be a staple card for decks that want to put cards into the Lost Zone, because you could balloon this out, switch Escape Rope, scoop up, reuse it. Kind of like Celebrations Mew and Team Up Jirachi's kind of effects. Finally, we're getting to the big boy, Giratina V. Giratina V, of course, there's a V star, so this isn't the main attraction, but this does have 2 good attacks. Abyss Seeker, look at the top 4 cards, you put 2 of them in your hand and the others in the Lost Zone. And then Shred does 160 damage, and it goes through any effects. So, this can knock out a Miltank. It goes through things like that. Giratina V Star. Dragon type V-Star Pokemon, 280 HP, weak to nothing. That's a big deal. Lost Impact for Grass Psychic Colorless does 280 damage, and you put 2 energy attached to your Pokemon in the Lost Zone. This is not going to be that big of a deal to, fulfill the attack's cost and its extra cost once we look at the item cards that follow Giratina V-Star. And then for Grass Psychic, the V-Star attack is Star Requiem. You may only use this attack if you have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone, and your opponent's active is knocked out. Just pop it. Very good card. 280, insane. With no drawbacks, you're going to do this without a double turbo on, so it's doing the full 280, maybe even 310 with a belt. And then Star Requiem can just knock out anything that your opponent has. Getting into the trainer cards, we have Colress's Experiment. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put 3 of them in your hand, and put the remaining in the Lost Zone. So essentially, you look at the top 5 and choose 3 of them to keep, and the other 2 go to the Lost Zone. And remember, the Lost Zone doesn't have to be a negative thing when we have things like Giratina that wants cards in the Lost Zone. Lost Sweeper, put a card from your hand into the Lost Zone in order to use this card, and then put a tool card or stadium in play into the Lost Zone. So this is a +2 into the Lost Zone card for just an item. And then Mirage Gate, one of the most broken cards I think we've seen in a while, but it does have a very specific cost. You may play this card only if you have 7 or more cards in your Lost Zone. And then you can search your deck up to 2 basic energy of different type and attach them to your Pokemon however you like. So if you can get 7 cards in your Lost Zone, 7 cards into your Lost Zone or more, then you can use that to search out a Grass and a Psychic and attach it right to Giratina. And finally, the last one is going to be Lost City, an homage to Lost World. Lost City reads, when a Pokemon is knocked out, put it into the Lost Zone instead of discarding it. All non-Pokemon cards attached to that Pokemon are discarded. So this would be a great stadium to disrupt your opponent's Radiant Pokemon, maybe force their one-off Pokemon to go into the Lost Zone, never to be retrieved. Or even if you want your own Pokemon going into the Lost Zone to rack up Lost Zone cards for something like Giratina's Star Requiem. So those are the newly revealed Lost Zone cards from Lost Abyss. Actually, there's one more. I lied. It's Barbaracle. So we might as well look at this since it was revealed slightly after. Barbaracle says, as long as this Pokemon's in play, your opponent puts any prize cards they would take into the Lost Zone instead of putting those cards into their hand. A very cool, weird, annoying effect. I'm not sure if it will ever actually be good enough to play though. But a very cool effect, and it only counts for when your opponent would take a prize for taking a knockout. It doesn't count when your opponent switches cards with something like Peonia or Hisuian Heavy Ball. So thanks to PokeBeach and the translators for getting this information up. And I'm very excited for our September set, which will reintroduce the Lost Zone. Let me know what you guys think about the Lost Zone coming back and how they're working with it so far. It seems like it's not going to be a mechanic that they just toss in and give to like one Pokemon. We're seeing it pretty spread out so far, and a number of different trainers that do different things with the Lost Zone. So pretty cool in my opinion. Yeah, so that's all I have for you today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for daily Pokemon TCG content. Leave a like and a comment. Check out my sponsors in the link down below. I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.